Hey everyone, and welcome to Repurposed Live, where we help you rethink your growth, your wellness, and your purpose. My name is Lissa Figgins, and it's my mission to help women like you to have the health, the time, and the resources to create a life that you love. And it's my intention to introduce you to amazing women who could also help you in some of these areas as well. And so today I'm really excited because my guests today, I have two of them, are very unique from the type of guests that I've had before, but I love what they do. So Cindy and Christina are the founders of Adaptive Equipment Corner, and they are therapists who saw that seniors were struggling to care for themselves and to be independent in their own home. They knew from their training and from just what they've learned that having the right tools, using them the right way could make all of the difference. But the problem was not only did the seniors not know how to use them safely, oftentimes their caregivers did not as well. So they have now started this amazing platform that really their goal is to really become a trusted resource for information about adaptive equipment and how to use it safely so that seniors can age well and age in place as long as possible. So Cindy and Christina, thank you so much for joining us today. Really looking forward to hearing your story. So tell us, what is Adaptive Equipment Corner all about, and why did you guys start doing this?
Yeah, well, you pretty much summed up who we are at the beginning, and thank you for that. That was very well put. So I'm just going to go straight to why we started Adaptive Equipment Corner. As you said, Cindy and I were both therapists. Cindy's a physical therapist. I'm a speech therapist. And we noticed we were both in home health at the time. We actually started off as a YouTube channel. We still have our YouTube channel and it's doing quite well, but we started off with just our free videos on YouTube. And what we found in our home health experience is that people were asking the same question over and over again. Now, I know for myself, I went to school to help people and to give care. And as I was going along in my career, I found out that I was spending more time on the computer and more time with paperwork. And so people were looking at the top of my head more than I was able to get to them and educate them. And so what we thought, we were answering the same questions over and over again. So we thought, well, let's just put it on a video format and keep it short and keep it simple. And then maybe we could, refer some of our patients to go see to see those videos if they have questions. So in 2015, we put out a few videos, and we've been doing that ever since then. We have 103 videos out on our YouTube channel too. So
wow.
In about 2018, we noticed that we were starting to get some traction on our YouTube channel. And so we thought, you know what, let's see if we can make a go of this and make a business and try to change, try to move it into a business. And so that's what we did. We found somebody that created a video platform for us. And so then we went ahead and started making videos. So our business model is a subscription business model. And we now have 220 videos in addition to the 100 videos, but these are for our subscription model. So people ask what we do for fun, and apparently we make videos.
Right?
Therapy nerds, yeah. So that's what we're doing. We launched it. We went live in 2020. In January of 2020, we rolled over 1 million views on our YouTube channel. And in January of 2020, we also went live, and then COVID happened.
Right? That happens. Right. We went live at the right time. So how has that affected what you're doing over the past year, whether positively or, negatively?
It's interesting.
Yeah, it's been interesting. We've had to try to balance. We try to do some marketing business to business, and we do have individual subscriptions as well. The business to business was kind of dampered because we are very social creatures, so we all are, and we like to be face to face to people. So trying to, communicate over Zoom, we've all had to get used to. But we are really looking forward to getting back out in the community, talking to some of these businesses, assisted living facilities, independent living facilities, hospitals, because we think that they can benefit from our subscriptions as well as their clients, in helping kind of gap that bridge between their facilities and the clients going home, and helping with that continuity of care and providing them with something that will kind of bolster them and the caregivers when they get their loved ones home.
Yeah, that seems to be kind of where we're headed, or we have been headed over the past few years, Lissa, is that a lot of this responsibility is falling down to the caregiver.
Yeah.
And sometimes so much so that people don't realize that they are caregivers. They don't identify as caregivers because they don't realize they're a caregiver. And so, at least raising their awareness that yeah, that's kind of what you are, but there's so many services out there for you.
Right.
And we just want you to take care of yourself so that you can continue to care for others. So, that's where we kind of go, we gear our message towards, is that caregiver to say, let us show you how to work smarter and not harder.
Right.
So.
I love that, and that's very near and dear to my heart for two reasons. Number one, my mission is to help women live well so they can better live out what they're called to do. And, we all know that eventually at some point in life, we are going to have loved ones who are aging that we are a caregiver for, that we are responsible for and looking out for. So I love that you're really making that a priority. And I know that, if we're not taking care of ourselves, if we're not getting the resources we need, we can't be, really able to help them in the way that they need. And what good are we going to be if we're, we are either just so frustrated and overwhelmed, or physically exhausted, or having our own health issues because we've been neglecting those things, right? And because we haven't been proactive about our own wellness and about learning, these things. And over the past couple of years, I've watched my parents. I have one grandmother who just passed away about 6 months ago. She was almost 102. So we're just going to call it 102 because she was like 3 weeks away. But, she lived with my parents for many years, and I just watched, my parents in that role. Eventually it got to the point where, it was just not conducive for her to be able to be there, and she needed, full-time care. But yet even still, they were always going and actively being a part of her life and the things that, the resources she was getting. And my other grandma is about to turn 98. My parents are there as we speak, doing their visit with her, and just, I reached out to them this morning and just said, thank you for all that you have done to, with both of the grandmas, and, and knowing that time will come for me to do that for them. So I love that you guys are providing resources, because it can be a really stressful time. And sometimes it happens in an instant because all of a sudden there's a fall or something, and you're not planning ahead. So for them to know where they can go and get support and information is really helpful. So tell me a little bit about, let's talk about some practical things. What advice do you have for either someone who's a caregiver right now, or inevitably going to be a caregiver one day? What are some of the things that we should be thinking about, looking out for, and what should we know or anticipate?
Right. Well, I think one of the things that we really try to promote is being prepared ahead of time, because we know we're all going to be there at some point. We really do. And now sometimes you can't, you have that overnight, something that happens, accident or something like that. But the preparation is key, because that's going to help, in my opinion, with the longevity of your caregiving. Being prepared and knowing how to physically help and assist someone. Also being prepared to know that you need to try to figure out, what can your loved one do themselves? Are we doing too much for them? I just had a family member yesterday that I kind of had to tell her, you need to back off a little bit, because you're not going to allow your loved one to start being more functional. So it's that balance of knowing what to do, knowing how much to do. And when you have to do, if you have to do a big part of the caregiving, what type of equipment might make your job easier, might make it safer for you and the client in doing that. So those are the things that, the preparation is key if you have that time. And we never think we're going to get there, but we are. It's inevitable. We certainly are. So,
So start preparing for that now, and that way you'll be ready. And
or
I think too that a lot of times, you think about someone who's been independent for years and years and years, I'm sure it's a really hard transition to all of a sudden be dependent on other people for your physical needs. So to allow them to just have that dignity and have that independence as long as they possibly can, right? I think really just helps them mentally as well as physically. So I love your point about not doing too much for them, and trying to help them be as independent, as possible, as long as possible.
And we call it functional independence. So I mean, it might not be exactly the way they used to do it, but there's a level of dignity that comes with allowing them to do what they can.
Right. That's fantastic. That's fantastic. So are you finding that, a lot of people are just very quickly moving their loved ones into a facility because they don't know how to care for them at home? Are people more open to and aware of things they can do at home? What is that like right now?
I think it's kind of six of one, half dozen of another. I think that people, if it depends on how quickly things are moving, I know people usually try to keep people at home with them. And, if that's a feasible thing, we certainly want that to happen. I think that's a good, the family cohesiveness, that's a good thing. What I would suggest to caregivers, though, especially, there's a lot of course, guilt that goes along with caregiving. And am I doing the right job? And am I doing a good enough job? And I think caregivers also need to realize that there may physically come a point that you are not able to do that. But I don't think right off the bat people's direction is putting somebody somewhere. It's usually keeping at home. Unfortunately, sometimes it gets to their detriment. It gets to the point or past the point of maybe they should have, tried to do something different.
I always try to tell my families that, think of the time and energy that you're spending caring for them. And if it's gotten to the point where they can't be functionally independent, think of all that time and energy you're spending caring for them. If you can put them in an assisted living facility where they can get more skilled care, take that time and energy that you were spending trying to care for them and spend it with them in an assisted living facility. Go have lunch with them, go visit with them, go in the morning before you go to work and help them get dressed. I mean, and there's still those connections that you can make. So that's why I always try to, to try to alleviate some of that guilt I think that we would feel as caregivers and stuff, that, take that energy and put it somewhere else that it might be a little bit more helpful for both parties concerned.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah. You're using your time you're investing your time the best way possible. Right. And really we want to have as much time with them as possible, and really that connection piece. So sometimes that can be the best place for them. I love that. Did you have any other tips that you wanted to share?
I just have a couple of quick tips for caregivers out there right now, that if somebody has an individual or a loved one on a wheeled walker, that they're having trouble maybe getting it through the doorways of their home. A lot of people don't realize, but you can actually take those wheels off and just switch sides, and it will put the wheels on the inside and allow for about 2 or 3 more inches for clearance through a doorway. Little things like that. I always, again, go back to allowing somebody to do as much as they can. If that means giving them verbal cues to help them through the steps, because you'd be surprised at how many people, I have clients all the time, I'll get into a house and they say, oh, they can't do anything. And if I just talk them through the process, they do the majority of it, just with my verbal cues and assistance. So, or leave the items, the frequently used items, out on a counter or on a bed. Put their clothes on a bed, and they might not be able to dress themselves as quickly, but still, it comes back to that dignity. So things that are frequently used: toothbrush, toothpaste, a comb, a brush. Leave it on the counter. You don't have to put it in a drawer, something that they have to bend over. Let's think about energy conservation for your loved one. Right. So.
Right. I love that. I'm sure you guys have seen a lot of changes even since you started this, but over the years of the tools that are available. So I have a favorite podcast, and on there, they always ask the guest, what's something that's making your life easy right now? So I'm thinking right now, right, because you guys are in this world, what are some of the tools that you're seeing out there that are making life easier for people to be caring for their loved ones in their home?
Well, one of the old standards actually is like a reacher. Everybody loves a reacher. It makes so much, the convenience in the kitchen, grabbing stuff, convenience getting stuff off the floor. It's been around for a long time, but that is certainly something that I would always recommend for somebody. We've seen a lot of cool things. We've got a couple of cool things coming up that we will have on our YouTube channel that's going to improve those people that love to soak in the tub, but can't, of course, the very first thing as a therapist, when I walk into the house and I ask, what are you doing for bathing? And one of my clients that just got out of the hospital says, oh, I'm getting down in the tub. And my first reaction is, all the way to the bottom of the tub, you know, and
Right.
that's a little bit of a scary situation, but we're going to be previewing or demoing a piece of equipment that will allow, it's kind of an air mattress type of thing that will allow people to actually soak down inside the tub all the way to the bottom, and then it will raise back out. So some of those things, a lot of the things on our YouTube channel are product reviews. We try to get little gadgets that are out there and really see what they do and what they can do to help people. My biggest thing too, though, with adaptive equipment, and I have a very loose definition of adaptive equipment, but pretty much in my mind is if you can use any object to assist you to make something easier, it's a piece of adaptive equipment. So
Exactly.
whether it's a wooden spoon,
be creative.
off the shelf.
That's exactly right.
But you know,
my favorite piece of equipment, and I've not had to use this, but I always, and I'm a speech therapist, so I don't really give a lot of advice as far as equipment is concerned. But my favorite, and I've seen the most success with, is a leg lifter. It's just like a long leash. It's got a stiff rod in the middle of it. And it's got loops on each end of it. You use it to loop your foot and and then use your arms to bring your leg up onto the bed or a chair or whatever. But I mean, talk about independence, especially with mobility. That's one of my favorite things, is the leg lifter. So
Yeah. Well, I love that there are tools out there like that, but even more importantly, I love that there are people like you guys that are educating, about this and doing it in a video format, because sometimes you have to see it, right? We can't just process from, you get the instructions that come printed in all kinds of languages, and then you're trying to figure it out, but to see somebody demonstrating and sharing that, I think can be super, super valuable. So I'm anticipating that right now there are listeners who are listening to this that are saying, wow, I am a caregiver right now, or I know I will be one day. And how can they get in touch with you, kind of be able to find out more about your resources and start preparing for these things before they're in that situation?
Yeah, they can find us at AECorner.com. That's our website. We have a lot of resources there. We've got our YouTube videos hooked up there. We are also going to offer to your viewers a code to get into our subscription platform. So on the homepage of the website, there'll be a register button up in the right-hand corner. But we will put it, it will be Lissa Live will be the code, and you can get in. It'll be a 30-day free access to our entire library of about 200 videos. So
wow, that's so generous. Thank you.
They can find us on any of the social media platforms too, Lissa. And we like to do presentations. Hopefully we'll be getting out in the community more. And we travel. I mean, we do have a place in our basement that is literally Adaptive Equipment Corner. And so we put some stuff in the car, and we'll do presentations at YMCAs and stuff like that. And it gives people a chance to come kind of put their hands on the pieces of equipment, and we get a chance to talk to everybody. So and we'll try to put that out on all of our social media platforms when we start scheduling more of those. And we love that. People
can actually, people can see you, talk to you, try it. It's really going to make a difference in them feeling confident in using it. So thank you so much for your generosity. What I will have you do is, when we're done, we'll put those links down in the comment section. So if you're listening and you'd like to go not only check out their website, but also, you guys, 30 days free access to those videos. I don't know if you can binge watch 200 videos in 30 days, but good luck. And if you got access to it, for free, and, this is something they're continuing to add to, obviously. So something that, we'll just continue to build that resource library that can be such a help. And if you're listening right now and you're thinking of someone who's a caregiver, or who also is going to be a caregiver, one day, please share this video with them, because the more people we can help to be in this stage of life and to do it well, so that not only is, the aging loved one feeling cared for, but so is the caregiver. I just really think it's going to be a win-win for everybody. So thank you, ladies, so much for what you do, how you serve, how you're helping people in this stage of life. And I really appreciate you taking your time to share that with us today.
Yes, thanks for having us. We really appreciate it, Lissa.
Thank you very much.
Well, you're welcome. You're welcome. Well, you guys have a fantastic day. Make sure that you go and check out their resources, and keep rethinking just where you're at right now, so that you can continue to create a life that you love. We'll talk soon. Bye-bye.